Well, if you've ever gotten dentures under the best circumstances, you know how painful that process can be. Well, tonight, patients have raised questions about procedures going on inside the office of an East Tennessee dentist. Patients have told 6 News investigator Don Dare an unlicensed employee worked inside their mouths while the dentist wasn't there.
These 2 women have new dentures, only temporary ones, not their permanent set yet. They went to the Affordable Dentures office in Morristown, but do not intend to return. Both have complained to the State Dental Board about irregularities inside the clinic.
She's been in the dental field for 20-some years, she told us, but she is not licensed to do absolutely anything.
Teresa Underwood used to work at Affordable Dentures, worked alongside this woman, Jennifer Harrison, the office manager. Patients say she refers to herself as a dental assistant, but she's not. We checked the state license verification records with the Board of Dentistry. Under the name Jennifer Harrison, dental assistant, no record is found. Mrs. Harrison is the wife to Dr. David Harrison. He operates the Affordable Dentures office.
What happened?
Mrs. Underwood had her teeth pulled at Affordable Dentures last fall. A few months after surgery, she was experiencing trouble and says Mrs. Harrison attended to her.
My gums busted open on my bottom left. I went there and his wife, he was not at the office, he had left. And so she came in and closed it up and sent me on my way.
She came in and did what?
She closed me up, packed it in, and placed a denture in, and sent me out the door.
Teresa says that wasn't the only time Jennifer worked on her mouth. She recalls a visit in late February.
She cuts me open from here to rinse all the bone splinters and stuff out because it was such a mess, and then removed a tooth here.
In early spring, Mrs. Underwood was fired by Affordable Dentures. Teresa said she missed a lot of work because of her son's health. He has a rare disease. She claims not to be a disgruntled employee. Teresa says she wanted to talk with us to raise concerns about the clinic. For example, why would a business post a sign like this in their office, threatening dismissal for negative comments? She calls conditions there unprofessional.
A lot of verbal abuse to patients, to employees there. A lot of times he is not even coming in. He is allowing his wife to do the work.
In Cosby, June McClary has never met Teresa Underwood. However, she raises similar concerns about operations at the clinic. On June 11th, her dentures were relined nearly 2 months after her initial surgery. The total bill was $3,000. But something went wrong with the reline. The upper denture burnt the roof of her mouth.
I want them to beware of that place, and I want them to particularly beware of Jennifer because she is the one who did the reline on my teeth.
June says these pictures show blisters inside her mouth. They formed a few hours after her dentures were relined. The next day, she went to the clinic.
And then Jennifer, the office manager, who won't give me her last name, came in and she looked at them.
Did the dentist see you?
He did finally come in and he saw me and he looked at my mouth and he said, well, maybe next time we use a different lining material.
What medication did they provide you?
None.
Really?
He walked out and that was the last I saw of him.
Eventually, June went to a hospital emergency room in Greenville where she was given prescription medication for her injury. When Henry McClary returned to the office to get some information for his wife, he said words were exchanged between himself and Jennifer Harrison. A few hours later, June gets a call from Mrs. Harrison.
June, I guess you know by now that you're no longer a patient of ours.
So you're banned?
Mm-hmm.
However, in this letter, Dr. Harrison agreed to compensate Mrs. McClary with a $985 refund, claiming her injury was the result of ingesting hot food. We wondered, what can a certified dental assistant do? Dr. John Osborne is president of the Tennessee Dental Association.
The top level is the expanded function dental assistant.
He says there are several certifications. Dental assistants can polish teeth, expose x-rays, apply sealants, monitor nitrous oxide, all under the direct supervision of a licensed dentist. If a person had years of experience in a dental office but was still a non-certified dental assistant, under what conditions could that person fit, adjust, or place dentures?
Under no circumstances. In fact, no assistants in Tennessee are allowed to place, fit, or adjust dentures.
Period.
period.
Thank you for calling Affordable Dentures. How can I help you?
We went to Morristown where we tried to get the other side of the story.
Is Dr. Harrison in today?
He is.
We asked to speak with him either on or off camera. Our request was denied. So we hung around until closing time when the staff left, except for Dr. Harrison. As Jennifer Harrison made a speedy exit, despite the train whistle, she heard our questions but didn't answer.
Are you a licensed dental assistant?
As she backed out and before we could get around to the front, Dr. Harrison left by the front door where his wife had picked him up. We last saw him speeding down Morris Boulevard.
And I don't want to go anywhere with my girlfriends right now. You know, I don't want to go and be the ruthless, toothless one.
Mrs. McClary is now looking for a new dentist. Teresa Underwood is too. Since our interviews, both women have talked with investigators from the State Dental Board. So has the entire staff at the dental office. Now, in checking David Harrison's background, we discovered that in 2004, he voluntarily surrendered his dental license in Louisiana for alleged abandonment of patient, alleged fraud, and alleged improper prescribing. Don Dare, 6 News.
Now, while an investigation is ongoing, the state cannot make any comments. 6 News did contact the corporate office for Affordable Dentures. They have no comment either. Now, these new patients are telling 6 News consumer investigator Don Dare they cannot wear their dentures after being treated by an unlicensed employee.
The accusations by 2 more women were made regarding Jennifer Harrison. She's the office manager at Affordable Dentures in Morristown, but tells patients she's a dental assistant. She's also the wife of David Harrison, the dentist who runs the discount clinic.
Several times a day, Tracy Hobson fills a cup with warm salt water and swishes it through her mouth, hoping it heals her gums and eases the gnawing pain. At the end of May, she went to Affordable Dentures to have impressions made. Her teeth were pulled, however, at Cherokee Health Systems in Maynardville. The day after her extractions, she visited the office at Affordable Dentures to get her temporary teeth. Her appointment scheduled at the office indicates she would only be picking up her dentures. But Tracy says Jennifer Harrison told her that would not be the procedure.
They informed me that they had to deliver them to me, which meant they had to put them in my mouth. And I said, can I see Dr. Harrison and talk to him? She said, he's unavailable, he's making other people's teeth.
Mrs. Hobson says when she got the dentures, because her teeth had been extracted the day before, her gums hurt. Nevertheless, the plate was put in her mouth.
She put the top ones in, and she put them in kind of easy, and then she took her finger and rammed it up in the roof of my mouth.
She says a moment later, still in pain, the process was repeated.
She let go, waited till it eased off, and then she rammed it again. And I said, stop right now, give me my teeth.
During this time, did you see the dentist?
And I asked right then to see Dr. Harrison. She said, he's unavailable. That was 2 times in the one day that I asked to see him.
Tracy says she wears her dentures sparingly. They don't fit. Her gums, she claims, are still sore from when the dentures were roughly inserted.
I'm embarrassed, I'm hurt, I'm physically wounded.
Last week, we reported June McClary had been banned from Dr. Harrison's office after she complained about Mrs. Harrison. She showed us pictures of burns to the roof of her mouth. She says the injury happened within hours after Jennifer had relined her dentures.
She went from there to there.
Teresa Underwood told us last week that Mrs. Harrison cleaned out bone spurs in her mouth last March, even pulled a tooth. Jennifer Harrison claims she's a dental assistant with years of experience working in the office. But a check of state records show she's not a licensed dental assistant. A check of David Harrison's record shows he did report to the Tennessee Dental Board that in 2004, he voluntarily surrendered his license in Louisiana for alleged fraud, abandonment of patient, and improper prescribing.
No, thank you. I'll try it like this.
Another one of Dr. Harrison's patients is Annie Norwood. When she bites into food like a hamburger, she has to gum it. Mrs. Norwood can't wear her upper plate anymore. She had them made at Affordable Dentures 2 years ago. The last time she visited was in January of this year for an adjustment.
I tried to tell her they was too big, but she wouldn't listen. She just said you have to learn to live with it.
And this was Jennifer Harrison?
Yes.
And they never fit?
No. Never worked.
She asked to see Dr. Harrison about her ill-fitting teeth.
No, I haven't seen him the last 4 or 5 times I've been down there, he hasn't come in.
Although the dental assistant may be highly trained,
in Norris, Dr. Michael Beeler, a dentist for 36 years, showed us what adjusting a denture is like. He says under state rules, dental assistants are not allowed to make adjustments, fittings, or placements of dentures, even though a few are capable.
if we go by the rules, then dental assistants aren't allowed to do this.
Who assumes overall responsibility for a patient's care in a dentist's office?
We dentists. Any dentist is the ultimate one who's responsible for patient care.
Dr. Beeler doesn't know any of the people involved in our investigation. He says, however, Board of Dentistry rules are clear on who can and who cannot work on patients and what the role of the dentist should be.
So the dentist needs to be involved. He needs to talk to the patient. He needs to come in and ask the patient questions. He needs to observe and see what's going on.
Tracy Hobson says someday she would like to wear her teeth.
The only time I use them is when I go out somewhere, because I don't want to be toothless.
Despite efforts to reach the Harrisons for comment, our calls were not answered. The corporate office for Affordable Dentures says it has no comment. Don Dare, 6 News.
Now, the people 6 News interviewed have either called the state dental board or talked directly with investigators who are now looking into the allegations at Affordable Dentures office in Morristown.
Well, decisive action has been taken against a dentist by the corporate office of a discount dental clinic in Morristown. The dentist has been fired. This is a story we've been following for the last 2 weeks. 6 News consumer investigator Don Dare explains the decision came just days after more patients complained of irregular practices.
The Affordable Dentures office in Morristown is temporarily closed, but will soon have a new dentist. The clinic's corporate office, Affordable Care, tells 6 News, Dr. David Harrison's affiliation with Affordable Care has ended. Dr. Michael Doyle will start a new Affordable Dentures practice in Morristown on August 6th. Dr. Doyle will be reaching out to patients of Dr. Harrison, featured in the 6 News investigations.
I think it's the best thing that could have happened. Now, you know, maybe people can actually get the care that they need and get it done right.
Teresa Underwood and June McClary were the first patients of Dr. Harrison to contact 6 News in June. They say the action by Affordable Care will protect future patients.
He is the only professional dentist there, and he's the only one who's supposed to be doing the work.
Yeah.
Others were doing it for him.
The focus of our investigation centered on Dr. Harrison's supervisory control at the clinic. Controversy surrounded his wife, Jennifer Harrison. She claimed to be a dental assistant with years of experience, but a search of state records showed she's not certified.
She put it right in the middle of the denture and rammed it.
Tracy Hobson explained how Jennifer Harrison hurt her tender gums 2 months ago while trying to insert dentures into her mouth.
And I asked right then to see Dr. Harrison. She said he's unavailable. That was 2 times in the one day that I asked to see him.
Teresa Underwood told us Mrs. Harrison performed procedures only a licensed dentist can do.
She went from there to there and opened me up and supposedly cleaned out all the bone splinters and everything. Went here and I removed a tooth that had been left in my mouth.
Tonight, a sign posted on the front door to Affordable Dentures encourages patients of Dr. Harrison to call a toll-free number, 1-800-DENTURE, for assistance. Affordable Care assures 6 News Harrison's patients, like Annie Norwood, will be taken care of.
That's been 2 years and 4 months ago.
Despite numerous trips to the office over the last 2 years, Mrs. Norwood said she had trouble with her ill-fitting dentures fitted by the Harrisons. She could never wear the upper plate. Now, with the change in office management, she hopes finally to be able to bite into a burger wearing her false teeth. Today, we went seeking a response from Dr. Harrison. Neither he nor his wife are home. Affordable Care tells 6 News while the home office provides business support to its clinics, it expects affiliates to follow state regulations. In a statement, Affordable Care said its contract with a dentist specifies it is not obligated to provide business services to affiliates not meeting high standards.
So he needed to be shut down and stopped from doing what he was doing and allowing what was happening to continue.
The action by Affordable Care will not likely stop or slow down the state's investigation of procedures that went on inside Dr. Harrison's office. Although no one at the State Dental Board will comment, patients who have been interviewed by the state have been assured the investigation of practices under Dr. Harrison continues. Don Dare, 6 News.
The office is reopened and patients have returned to a Discount Dentures clinic in Morristown after a dentist was dismissed there. 6 News consumer investigator Don Dare continuing his series of stories about Affordable Dentures of Morristown.
Gene, it's been nearly a month since Dr. David Harrison was fired by Affordable Care, the corporation that owns the Affordable Dentures franchise. The company's decision followed a 6 News investigation about irregular practices at the dentist clinic. That office in Morristown was closed for a week so the corporation could get issues organized. Now the clinic is back in business.
The waiting room at Affordable Dentures in Morristown is busy. Some patients were called and asked to return, while others were sent letters informing them a new dentist, Michael Doyle, has taken over and would care for them. Annie Norwood was one of the first to return and be treated by Dr. Doyle.
He talked to you. He explained things to you, and he just cared.
I hated to see this office fall from grace, and I wanted to do my part to help out to restore the name.
Last month, Mrs. Norwood showed us upper dentures that never fit, so she didn't wear them. As a result, she was never able to bite into a hamburger without gumming it. Annie said she rarely saw Dr. David Harrison, the former dentist, despite numerous requests to see him. It was Jennifer Harrison, the dentist's wife, who Mrs. Norwood would see. Mrs. Harrison informed patients she was a dental assistant, but she wasn't. Other patients, like Teresa Underwood, told 6 News, Jennifer Harrison even pulled some of her teeth. Within weeks after our first story, David Harrison and his wife were dismissed by the corporate office. Michael Doyle knew Dr. Harrison.
And so I just couldn't believe the stories that I was hearing. That was my initial reaction.
And since then?
Well, I'm hearing stories now, and if you hear the same story over and over, you start to think that the stories were true.
Conditions inside the office are different today. Dr. Doyle, who's worked over 30 years with the company, has taken control, assuring patients no matter where they are in their treatment plan, they'll be helped at the company's expense.
What's transpired here is not how we work. That we want people to know that we care for them. Patient satisfaction and quality of care is everything to our organization, and we want people to know that they can rely on us.
Mrs. Norwood showed us her new upper dentures. They fit perfectly, and she can chew almost anything now.
I got pork chops, and I got corn on the cob. I've not been able to eat this in a long time.
In her freezer, she pulled out meats she's been unable to eat for a while.
When was the last time you had New York strip steak? Do you remember?
A couple of years and a half.
Open at 7 a.m., the people who run this office today are determined to complete patient services that were disrupted by irregular practices in the past.
You know, that's pretty much what we've been doing, working hard just to please people.
Their neighbors in Morristown tell us David and Jennifer Harrison are moving out of their home and apparently moving out of the state, possibly to North Carolina, neighbors say. Now, the Tennessee Dental Board investigation into practices of Dr. Harrison continues. Don Dare, 6 News.
Well, an investigation by state examiners into the practices of a Morristown dentist have ended. This is a story 6 News has been following for you since July, and as 6 News consumer investigator Don Dare reports, the state handed down the most extreme punishment out there.
Disciplinary action taken by the State Dental Board against David Harrison has been swift and decisive. The board has revoked the Morristown dentist's license, stripping him of his ability to work in Tennessee. In this consent order obtained by 6 News, unprofessional conduct is cited as one of the grounds for taking such extreme measures.
It was agonizing.
June McClary was one of Harrison's first patients to call 6 News. She was also one of the first to contact state investigators about the dentist's practice.
I don't think he needs to have a license anywhere, because if this is the way he conducts his practice, this is unacceptable. because he's harming people. He's causing people to be harmed.
4 months ago, Mrs. McClary showed us pictures of burn marks to the roof of her mouth, suffered hours after her dentures were relined. She said it was Jennifer Harrison, the dentist's wife, who relined the dentures. Mrs. Harrison passed herself off as a dental assistant, but records show she wasn't licensed. It says in the consent order that he allowed his wife to perform services such as mixing and making soft liners.
She's the one who always saw me. He did my first post-op, but she did my second post-op.
All by herself?
All by herself.
Mrs. McClary and 3 other patients told similar stories, that Harrison's wife assisted in their care, that the dentist knew about it but did nothing to stop it. In the order, the board writes, Dr. Harrison allowed his unlicensed wife to perform services, such as exposing x-rays, making impressions, adjusting dentures, and assisting chairside. That he allowed her to sign his initials or name to treatment records for controlled substances, whether he was in the office or not. David Harrison operated the Affordable Dentures business in Morristown. After our calls for an interview were ignored in early July, we attempted to reach Harrison outside his office without success. Within days after our reports aired, the company's corporate office, Affordable Care, fired Harrison and temporarily closed the clinic. As we reported in late August, Affordable Dentures in Morristown has since reopened. A new dentist is in charge, and former patients like Annie Norwood and others have received new dentures.
There's seven dentists on the board.
Dr. John Osborne is president of the Tennessee Dental Association. He says the dental board could have issued less serious sanctions against Harrison.
Again, there are fines, there are remedial actions, there are several other things that they can do without revoking the license. You know, as dentists, we are behind the board because, you know, a bad actor reflects badly on all of us.
Over the past 12 months, 28 dentists have been reprimanded and fined in disciplinary action by the State Dental Board, according to public records. More serious sanctions over the last year include 4 dentists placed on probation and fined, and 2 had their license suspended, 1 for 2 years. David Harrison becomes only the 2nd dentist in the past year to lose the privilege of practicing in Tennessee. His revocation notice will now be placed on a nationwide database informing dental boards in other states of the adverse action. Don Dare, 6 News.